There we go. Good morning. All right. Doing some more line decker today. Getting ready to roll here. Alright, I think we're going to draw down over here. View up. Thank you. Good morning. Oop, down here. So I just put this in the right spot for the over desk camera. It's going out to the other channels here. Yeah, some interesting AI news today coming out that Microsoft is cutting back on their contracts for data centers, canceling some of them. I think they're seeing the bubble kind of reaching its limit, and they're probably realizing that there's limits on what these things can do. So that's interesting news, because there was this news the other day, well, last week, about them saying how they had commissioned this study, and basically it demonstrated that people who rely on these systems become less competent, less capable of doing anything, doing their work, like being aware of what's happening, checking the work, etc. Good morning. All right. Good morning, people popping in. Happy Monday morning, wherever you be. Good morning. Let's see, echoes there. Good morning. Happy Monday. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good morning. Not that one, I want that one. All right. To see the AI news I posted this morning, I saw over on the Twitter while getting the day started. Interesting stuff. I don't think Microsoft has officially announced it. Yeah, but they're cutting back on investment in those servers. The thing is that's what people have been saying is held back. The development of these systems is lack of server space. So it could mean they're looking at it and they're like, hey, maybe not enough people actually want to pay for this. It's doing things that people don't need done. I saw some other thing, I wish I'd grabbed it, but basically there's like a bunch of scientific studies that are getting this weird phraseology. It's like vegetative micron telescopy or something like that. And apparently it comes from the way that expression was in two columns. There was like one column here, and the word vegetative's in that column. And then there's another column, which is like a separate paragraph, separate topics. And that's where like the micron telescopy is coming in, is over there. And people that are using AI to write their scientific articles are getting that word, that phrase, vegetative micron telescopy, in their outputs, which is crazy. It's like, why would you, do you not proofread your materials? Do you not, it's funny because earlier this year, the faculty member was saying, if you're not using AI to write your grant proposals, you are being irresponsible. And I was just like, what? So, yeah, I thought that was interesting, though, that they're like, oh, yeah, we're, maybe, nobody wants to pay for this Copilot thing. Like, it doesn't actually add that much to people's productivity or activity or their employment experience or anything. Maybe we should put our efforts into other things. Good morning. Hello, everybody coming in. But I thought that was interesting development. I wonder how much more we're going to see. I think they're also looking at what happened with that Chinese company, that Deep, whatever it was called, Deep something or other, Deep Think or whatever it was called. People are like, hey, and investors are looking at it and saying, hey, we're investing hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars into all these different companies. And then this little Chinese company, and certainly they're doing more than that several $1 million, but they're still doing it far cheaper. Yeah, DeepSeek. They're still doing it far cheaper than what these American companies are doing. So why should we be investing in them if they're just blowing through cash? And that's kind of a more of a, I guess, pragmatic view rather than an idealistic view. But So, yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah, so interesting stuff. And that was, of course, there was a thing with James Cameron too. Him coming out and saying that there's no AI being used in his Avatar, his new Avatar movie. It's interesting because he had that big presentation not too long ago about how he's excited about the future potential of it. He's on the board of was it OpenAI or something like that. Um, so yeah, interesting that he would have that change in his tune, considering his if he's on that board, it means he's got personal investment in that company. I would assume, yeah. All right, we about ready to move on to inking on here. So, yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, what parts are going to be relevant or going to stick around, but I don't know that it's going to go away permanently or anything, but I remember, just like 3-4 years ago, iPad, well, the Adobe was all about getting their apps onto the iPad and updating them, making sure they work really great and all that, and then bringing kind of those performance and upgrades to their desktop versions. That's what they were going to plan. That was the big plan. And then when the AI stuff kind of popped up, all that just disappeared. Like, they haven't really talked about that very much. It's almost like they put all hands on deck on that rather than improving their actual products. which, I don't understand at all, but so yeah, so you kind of seen kind of the delay in that they kind of paused that development because like Adobe Photoshop was originally built for the movie The Abyss, and it's got like it's I think the program the way it is right now it's actually built on like Flash, like old Macromedia Flash, and which Flash doesn't really exist anymore. I mean, there's Adobe Animate, but um, so um, so yeah, it needs to be kind of restructured from the bottom up because it's built on this old software, and that was, I guess, the plan with the iPad versions was to like fully develop them, but then they just they haven't really gotten on it, and when they released them, it was kind of a joke because they're like, oh, these things barely work. It's missing a lot of features, and I think part of it too is like, well, the iPad's a handy thing to have on hand. Um, like it's still not quite the same power level or kind of ease of use that you get, especially with a program that's as complex as Photoshop. You don't get that same ease of use on that you have on the desktop, where you've got a full system set up. You've got a big screen. You've got multiple monitors maybe set up, all that stuff, and that does make a difference for how well you can function. It's like trying to use Blender on an iPad or something like that, or any of the fully featured 3D programs. So all right, let's get that linked up. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Mm-hmm. Hello over there on Kick. How's it going? Alright, getting there. Good morning, people coming in. Happy Monday. Hopefully everyone's got good plans for the week. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I wonder how this shift in the AI stuff's going to move. What I've been seeing going on in robotics, people seem to be very excited about the robots making robots. And makes me wonder what's going to happen with that. Because if they're relying on, these AI servers and things to kind of figure out what's going on, then and they're not going to be up at the rate that they thought, then who are they making them for, and what's the use case? So one of the things, like with the robots, much like any of these Alexa or Siri systems or other things, they really have to be connected to their home server to like function properly. A lot of them have to be kind of listening in while you're working or talking or whatever, and kind of forwarding that forward, which I think a lot of people won't be that comfortable with, unless the added benefit is greater than their discomfort. Like I saw some video of robots putting away groceries or something the other day, and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess that 2-second chore is worth having a giant robot in your way in the kitchen. Sure. I have my doubts, but it's not like the Jetsons robot that's zipping around, doing all of your everything in your house for you. Well, yeah, that's the question, right? How many, if a robot beats a dead horse in the forest, does it make a sound? Um, Again, that's all my larger question. A lot of things like is what is this for? I saw some that was like some factory worker video robots too, where like they're stacking stuff up for shipping or whatever. They're like these humanoid robots, but I look at that and I'm like, well, I mean, humanoid robots are great scientific, science fiction and everything. These androids that look like people, but but what's their actual practical use? Because like historically, you don't see in the real world too many robots that mimic direct human function. It's more of like trying to find the most efficient way of getting something into a place, and that doesn't necessarily mean like a human shape. When you look at like manufacturing, where it's been going the last 50, 60 years, like it's like a giant arm that pushes things into place. It's not really trying to push at a human shape, because it's got to lift things a certain way and do things at specific kinds of angles, and we don't always have those specific abilities built in. So and of course, this is me as an outsider. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it just seems like a lot of what happens in manufacturing, it's kind of working around human physical limitations, not bringing them in. It's not so that's why they, big machines and arms and cranes and all those things they put into a manufacturing space. So that's always what I ask when I see kind of a new technology coming forward. It's like, well, who's this really for? What's the actual ultimate accomplishment here? Rather than just its utility and driving up quarterly profits. But that's always my kind of major question when I see these things pop up. And just all the number of bubbles I've seen, I've kind of grown increasingly skeptical of a lot of this stuff. And then when I see, people like my sister asking me how to turn off, the Apple Intelligence stuff. Yeah, I guess there's that, right? You need to have something on your investment call to be excited about. But, yeah. I mean, we could go into, like, why it's so important for investments to go up. And that's, kind of this fiat currency world we live in, where the intention of the central bank is to inflate the currency nonstop. Their target inflation is 2% per year, which I don't think it's actually managed to keep it that low for a long time. And then when you do that, it just means all of your money that you can save, it's not worth saving money beyond trying to get in on an investment. And then people wonder why we have all these kinds of booms and busts in the stock markets. These risky business ventures and high-tech things, when of course that's where the incentives are if you're aware of how the money's been degraded. Oh, here's something interesting. I did see that was it Jason Pearson who did the body bags thing. Apparently, you can still get stuff off that Kickstarter. It's supposed to be fulfilling in April, but you can actually go ahead and still order like the books off of it. I was tempted last night looking at it because he only did so many things, right? His body bags and maybe a couple other things that I know about. But I think they said the edition on Kickstarter is like 280 pages or something of original art. And then you can get like a little sketchbook and some other little book with that. There's a larger tier where you get like everything, I guess, and that's like a bunch of cards and prints and other things. But so many great art books like that coming out these days. These artist editions. Yeah, well, and that's the I think that was the point of the creation of the Federal Reserve, because it was created by a group of I think, 3 banks, Chase and I forget the other two, meeting out on Jekyll Island of all places, right? It's just a resort in Georgia, but just the name of it's just kind of ironic. Oh yeah, there was a Kickstarter of Medievals. Oh, that was the toy. I remember when they did the first like big Spawn Kickstarter toy. I wish I'd ordered that. Um, I don't know if Spawn's any good these days, but I remember that comic initially like, well, like this is really interesting. This superhero, he's got like a limit on his powers, and once he runs out, he's done. I do have the original kind of medieval Spawn miniseries somewhere. I think. But yeah, Todd has definitely stuck it out. His transition to toys seems like it was the move to make back when he made it. Um, yeah, well, yeah, he definitely made he made things more dynamic. He definitely changed kind of the visuals of Spider-Man and other things that he worked on, and dumping all that energy in there. Yeah, I forget what I have through. Probably maybe 100. I don't know if I went that high with Spawn, but I missed out on the initial run. So I picked up, I think, starting with issue 10. That's that one weird one with Cerberus in there. That they had kind of had a retcon because I think they turned the white guy that was supposedly Owl, and when he was like given the wrong body or something when he was brought back to life. And I think they retconned that or something into being something else. But I forgot to get the black ink out. But later on, I won issues, I think 1 through 12 or something at my local comic shop. They had like a raffle, and like I never win anything, right? But there's been a couple times where I've won prizes. So that was one of them where I won the 1 through whatever of them, which was great because I couldn't afford them at the time as a teenager. Working my grocery store job or whatever. Um, so I was excited about that, winning that at Captain Salamander's Atomic Comics. But so I was excited about that. Finally got to read it, because I didn't really have trade paperbacks. So that got me caught up on what I'd missed. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, amazing he stuck around though. Like, he's kept his little character going. That's no small feat. And he never went back to the big two like all the other guys did. Um, which is interesting. Good morning. Happy Monday. Or I guess good evening where you're at, right? Hopefully your week is starting off good. Working hard. Yeah. I'm just trying to bring this to a finish. Oh, we just got a few minutes left, so yeah, just trying to bring this to a finish, and then I got to get ready for my day. Figure out what I'm talking to my seniors about today. We're about to pitch our whole little project here with the dean's office, which I think are mostly just going in to confirm what our plan is, and then try and figure out how to launch this or at least partially launch it for the fall. Enough moho gonna try spine soon? I don't know what that means. Oh. I see. Is that a good transition to make? So I'm not an animator, so I don't think about that stuff as much. Let's see. Pen. You're on Toy Store, yeah? Are toys a big deal over there? Let's see, up and around and over and down. You take a shower? Oh, thank you for telling me that. I appreciate it. I should probably take one of those eventually too. I appreciate it. He's sleeping, so I won't wake him up, but I was sitting at my desk over there on my left, and he was like, stood up, and he was been kind of lying there for a while, and he stood up and looked at me like, am I getting my blanket or what? I'm like, oh, did you want to go over here to the other bed? He's like, no. I just want my blanket. I want to go back to sleep. Alright, I think we've got to call it there. Thanks everybody that came in. I appreciate it. And we'll see y'all later.